Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and colleagues, welcome to the Center for Epidemic Response and Innovation, CERI at Stellenbosch. Good morning. Good morning to a room full of people and to a room full of people globally online. It's wonderful to be here today as we launch this exciting partnership between CERI, the Genomic Sequencing Unit at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, and the UK, excuse me, there were many steps heading up to this wonderful venue. Foreign Commonwealth, excuse me, Development Office. Listen, today is not just about a partnership that is meant to be advancing science, right? Yeah, it's more about strengthening global health security. It's about enhancing genomic sequencing capacity. It's about fostering innovation so that we are better able to protect ourselves from the next global health threat. An important reason to be here. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have a very short but very engaging presentation session this morning with much discussion. So please do get engaged. And also the main attraction, right? The signing of this official partnership. So I'd very much like to welcome today Dr. Terina Theron to kick us off. Dr. Terina Theron is the Senior Director for Research and Innovation here at Stellenbosch University, and she will be welcoming guests here and online today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much and good morning to everyone. It's wonderful to see so many people in person here and also wonderful to know that there are people online joining us, right, Janine? Yes. So I'm standing here this morning on behalf of my line manager and boss, Professor Sibusiso Moyo, our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Postgraduate Studies. Unfortunately, she would have loved to be here, but she had another engagement. But it's really a privilege and a pleasure for me to welcome you to this event. It's the launch of a very exciting UK-SA genomic surveillance partnership between CERI and the FCDO and GSU at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, as Lenine just pointed out. And these kind of partnerships are really incredibly important to the university. Our strategy is to do research for impact. That's part of our institution, one of our institutional goals. And it's through partnerships like this and the leadership that has been shown by CERI in this field and the partnerships formed internationally that we can manage to attain that goal of research for impact. Strategic partnerships for us is an absolutely vital part of what we're trying to achieve to ensure that we do research that is globally relevant. And health and human security is one of our broad strategic research areas. So from all of that, you can see that this partnership and the launch of this initiative fits in very well and is strongly supported by Stellenbosch University. So I really want to convey to each and every one of you the greetings and the congratulations from the Rectorate on behalf of the Rectorate. And on their behalf, I would also just like to specifically welcome some dignitaries at this event. Anthony Phillipson, the British High Commissioner. Very welcome to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. And then also Claire Harris, the Development Councillor. Stephanie Gruel-Mason, I just managed to get the right pronunciation for your surname. Deputy Development Councillor. Leanne Jones, Africa Science Research and Innovation Team Leader. And Kristen Close, the Technical Advisor, Science, Innovation and Technology from the British High Commission. And I would also like to welcome Dr. Caroline Haywood from the GSU Sanger Institute. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And then also all other GSU Sanger staff and researchers that are online and joining us. We have also been joined by the Executive Director from the South African Medical Research Council, Dr. Michelle Miller. I just saw Shelley coming in. Welcome. Also the head of the Virology Department of the National Health Laboratory Services, the NHLS, Professor Wolfgang Preiser, and the Vice Dean for Research and Internationalization, of the Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences at Stellenbosch University, Professor Nico Gey van Pittius. I would also like to welcome media representatives, other Stellenbosch University staff and students and researchers, and everyone that really has made the time to be here today. I think it's a celebration. It's an event that we have been looking forward to since we started these discussions and the partnership with the Wellcome Sanger Institute a number of years ago. And I really want to wish you well for this initiative and for the program. Specifically to Tulio and his team, please be assured of our support from Stellenbosch University side, and we're really looking forward to the launch of this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tina. Thank you for echoing the excitement that we have in this room for the celebration today. Next, we are honored to have with us His Excellency Anthony Phillipson, the British High Commissioner to South Africa. He has been a steadfast advocate for strengthening UK-SA ties in health and science. Please do join me in welcoming him to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. It's an absolute pleasure to be out here in this extraordinary building, which I confess I've never been to before, and I feel remiss. It's stunning. So, and Tulio was just telling me about some of the developments over the last few years. It's just a real pleasure for us to be here, and thank you for recognising my colleagues Claire, Stephanie, Leanne, and Kristen. And it's just, as I say, I'm slightly overwhelmed. Some of you were at a rather large event we did last night, but I've been looking forward to this as a way of pepping ourselves up after a big event celebrating UK-South Africa partnerships. If I may, Tulio, at the risk of embarrassing you, may I also commend you on your socks, which I assume you've chosen for the occasion. They are resplendent with the Union Jack. So thank you very much indeed. As I say, it's a great pleasure to be here to sign this new agreement that will facilitate this hugely important cooperation on genomic surveillance between CERI here in South Africa and the Wellcome Sanger Institute in the UK. I'll be really honest, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a researcher, I'm a historian who then became a rather sort of amateur diplomat, but I do really feel, I've always felt, that the partnership between the UK and South Africa in the fields of health and science and research more broadly is just so important. It's important bilaterally, it's important regionally, it's also important globally, as I'll come back to in a minute. And every time I engage in the partnership, especially in the practical partnerships like the one that we're launching today, I'm just really struck by the sense of a shared vision to deliver key priorities like universal health coverage, key priorities to frankly protect our people and people all around the world from global health threats. In November 2022, we had the honor of hosting President Ramaphosa for a state visit. I say we rather humbly. The King hosted him for actually the first state visit that the King had hosted during his reign. It was the most fantastic 2-3 days in London. Real highlight was taking President Ramaphosa to the Crick Institute, where he and actually not he, his health minister, then Dr. Pachla, and our then health minister signed a new health partnership between the UK and South Africa that's really set out an agenda that we wanted then to roll out over the following 10 years. And we've had some wonderful conversations with the government, but actually it's the practical application of that health partnership that I think is going to be so important. And that's what we're here to be part of today. The following year in 2023, we concluded a 3-year, £9 million, or what's that, around 220 million rand health programme, which we pivoted then to support the ongoing recovery from COVID-19, ongoing focuses around pandemic preparedness and vaccine preparedness. That programme, part of which saw the development of South Africa's first national strategic plan for non-communicable diseases, subsequently provided and produced early internationally accepted evidence of COVID-19's comorbidity with other NCDs. Later in 2023, we launched a successor bilateral health systems strengthening partnership programme. And then last year in November 2024, when my foreign minister came here to take part in what is rather dryly called the 13th session of the UK-South Africa Bilateral Forum, wasn't a very dry meeting at all. It was a very important meeting. They ran through the whole of our bilateral programme over the following 2 years. And again, health right at the heart of it. And they agreed that we should continue making sure that we work closely together on things like universal health coverage, sexual reproductive health and rights, and global health security in all of its forms. And as part of that journey with South Africa, we have looked at the importance of responsive, disease-agnostic, systematic approaches to improving health system outcomes for better population health. It also covers things like support for structural reform, which, although of course not easy, ensures a higher chance of sustained impact through these programs. And to this end, our current program also supports South Africa's health systems transformation ambition as the country aims to achieve universal health coverage. So we're working together with South Africa on all of those areas. We're looking to put together the building blocks for UHC, including things like improving leadership and governance, hospital management, reducing the burden of medico-legal claims on health services and budgets, building health technology assessment capacity, and as I said earlier, just increasing access to SRHR. Because of course we've seen how health systems can be exposed to shocks. As I said, I think we are still working through the consequences of COVID-19, which hit this country very hard, hit lots of countries very hard. I actually started my posting in the middle of 2021. I saw it up close and personal, and you know, we need to keep working through it. The impact on people's lives, work, and the global economy was profound. So as I actually touched on again in my remarks last night, I think South Africa and the UK working together on global health challenges is not optional. It's imperative, and the more that we can do together, the more we can help to protect our people. Pandemic preparedness, as I said, is I think a key aspect of that work, and that's why this project today I think is such a key element of our health partnership program here in South Africa, and why it's a pleasure to be part of part of the ceremony to welcome it. I would just touch on some other things that we're covering, as well as our national health, public health laboratories. We're working to inform seasonal disease preparedness. And in addition to the project that we're launching here today, we're also working together with South Africa through the Global Pathogen Surveillance Network, supporting local vaccine manufacturing, clinical trials, non-communicable diseases, implementing things like the Lusaka agenda, reforming multilateral health initiatives to better serve developing country priorities. And the other thing I would just touch on today is that as we do this, we'll of course be working with South Africa through their G20 presidency this year, which, as we keep saying, I think is a hugely important moment for the G20 to come to Africa for the first time. And as the South African government have said, they will be looking to deliver a G20 for the continent. And that is something that my government is 100% behind. We'll have the foreign minister back here in a couple of weeks. We'll have the chancellor here in 3 weeks' time for those meetings. And at risk of getting ahead of myself, I'm hugely looking forward to the Prime Minister coming here for the summit in November this year. So let me pause there. As I say, it's a great pleasure for me to be here along with my colleagues from the British High Commission. I think it's hard to overstate the importance of the work that you in this room and your colleagues do in this space. And I would just completely recommit the UK, the British High Commission, to our partnership with you to make these efforts a reality and a success. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner, for those insightful words. Next on our agenda, to take us a little bit deeper into the scientific goals of this initiative and to explain a little bit more, provide some context about where this collaboration started and where it is going, what impact it would have. I would like to welcome the driving force behind CERI, our director, Prof. Tulio de la Vera, a globally renowned scientist in his own right. Please do welcome, join me in welcoming Tulio.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lenin. Yeah. So let me just get here. I just click the mouse. Okay. Okay. So what I have prepared for you, yeah, it's a 5 minutes presentation. Don't worry. Yeah. We know how busy is high commissioners and executive directors of MRCs and so on. Yeah, just to highlight a little bit about this program and this really exciting program. Yeah. Yeah, we also put for you, we publish every month. This is our newsletter, is now a magazine called The Gem. We have a very strong communication program that you will find a lot of more information about us And we have 17,000 people that sign our newsletter or magazine every month. So please take with you, sign that, because we find that as scientists, scientific communication is as important as scientific results if you were to have a big impact. Yeah. So just to start, yeah, what's CERI's vision? Yeah, CERI's, it's a very ambitious program, yeah, that we really try to, our big vision to respond effectively to epidemics through genomic surveillance. But we don't want to stop there. We want to use that as a building block to enhance biomedical discovery and improve the treatment, diagnostic, and prevention of human disease in Africa. Many people don't know, but these days you use genomics is the main information that you use to design a diagnostic, like the qPCR or antigen. It is from genome of the viruses or pathogens that you design therapy, like antiretroviral therapy for HIV. And it's with that genomes that you also design vaccines. So it become a really building block from that, yeah. Before I get with the process, let me tell you that not only I have been for over 20 years in South Africa, but I have a long-term collaboration with the UK and SOX, as the High Commission said, yeah. So for close to 10 years, yeah, I was in what called the Welcome Africa Center, the biggest welcome program in South Africa, yeah, that's funded by the Welcome in Northern KwaZulu-Natal. And many of the people in this room were with me in that program and then moved to CERI, yeah. After that, I went to do, I had a fellowship in a university that's almost as good as Stellenbosch University, yeah. Okay, the weather is a little bit better here, yeah, but so I spent a few years in Oxford University as part of what is called a Marie Curie fellow. Very exciting time there, and I still have a very long and big collaboration with Oxford University. To be honest, they try to escape the winter and come here, a lot of the researchers, yeah. And then after that, I also had another long-term fellowship that was funded by the UK Royal Society, yeah, at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, which is then a little bit the enemy of Oxford. Not the enemy, but in Cambridge, you know, the same way that we have UCT and Stellenbosch, they have Cambridge and Oxford, yeah. And that's where I got to know the Sanger, and that when got the opportunity to create a strategic program, we did, yeah. And I'm very happy to have Caroline here, and that's what this investment is gonna do. So what this project will do? So this project will leverage genomic surveillance, which is now the biggest genomics facility in Africa that's here with us, and the biggest genomics facility in Europe, or is the UK still Europe? Yeah. Yes, okay. That's in the Wellcome Sanger Institute, yeah. And so what we are doing is to put together this great expertise to really move the system forward. So what we are talking about developing and applying methods that you, from one swab, you can sequence like 26 respiratory virus, which we hope to bring the price below the qPCR price. That's our challenge to that. And to use that for a real time, yeah, to track all the main respiratory pathogens, such as influenza, pneumovirus, RSV. The RSV season just started, not Wolfgang? I think that's starting this week, yeah. And then COVID, in a way that really to use that information to have a robust surveillance system to more coordinated response to emergent global threats, yeah. But this partnership and this involvement go beyond CERI, yeah. Many of you may be aware of the program that we led in South Africa that we call the Network for Genomic Surveillance in South Africa. Was the second and national genomics program to put around the world during COVID, fully initially funded by our government, the South African Medical Research Council and the DSI, when we set 8 genomics facilities across the country, and each of them in very close collaboration with the national government labs, the NHLS, which is in green block, and with the NICD. The NICD is part of the NHLS. So that's in a way that samples, and here is a perfect place to see. Behind us, we have the second biggest hospital in the country. Samples go here, go to Wolfgang lab that produce millions of samples a month. They do the diagnosis, come here for sequence in a way that we can do that extremely fast. Yeah, when we detected the first variant, yeah, with the beta, we grow a much bigger consortium that go from genomics to virology, immunology, clinical trial, epidemiological modeling, with direct contact with the presidency. Yeah, and in a way to react quick. And we did. South Africa did very well, end up not only detecting beta, but also Omicron in record time, and then really using that information to evaluate and design vaccines. But that was not enough, because we also have to not only do that, but start producing vaccines in South Africa. We put a big program. Dr. Richard Gordon is here. He helped to lead that program with the MRC and the World Health Organization, Africa CDC, and we win the competition to host the first WHO mRNA hub, yeah, which is here in South Africa. We are a founding member to move from genomics to vaccines in real time. This program will add for that. So for example, with the GSU, the Sanger Institute, we really want to speed up the production of genomes, yeah, and feed that for the development of vaccines, both here in South Africa and the UK. Why is that important? Yeah, and why is important to do together? Because we have two different winter waves, so we can do two big programs of development. We can identify the strains that are circulating here, which may come to the UK, and design effective vaccines and the way around. And that's what needed. Before we start this program in South Africa, only one country in the Southern Hemisphere was doing respiratory viral surveillance, that's Australia. Now South Africa is doing in real time, yeah. And not only that, but it's quite important because the flight connections with Europe and the UK is extreme. Everything that come here to the UK, it will be elsewhere within days, yeah. And then just to finish my last slide, that in addition to do that nationally, yes, CERI, and it's covered a little bit in our newsletter, we have this very large program of capacity building, very large. We have hosted over 600 fellows, or 660 fellows from now 50 African countries that come here to do advanced genomic surveillance and data analysis fellowship. Yeah, that program was funded by a pool of funders, was too big to be funded by one of them. Yeah, but what we did, yeah, 2 weeks ago, we launched the next phase of that with an initial investment from the MasterCard Foundation that now is going to take another 131 fellows, yeah, and that will involve not only on science, but all the way to a program of Master of Business Administration in healthcare leadership to really advance the production of that in South Africa and Africa. So this program will also add to that, because one of our objectives is the methods that we developed together with the Sanger, yeah, to be now, yeah, passed through other African countries and other South Africans labs. So any investment here, what we like to say, have a ripple effect in the rest of the continent. And that's what we need, because we know that these pathogens respect no border. So to conclude, yeah, the CERI at Stellenbosch University and the Genomic Surveillance Unit at the Wellcome Sanger Institute partner with the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office to strengthen surveillance of respiratory diseases in South Africa and the UK. Quite important, this project will leverage genomic surveillance to monitor many respiratory viruses, some of them with pandemic potential, like influenza. Everyone is aware that we are worried about the H5N1 development, yeah, the avian influenza, new virus such as metapneumovirus, RSV, just start our wave, and COVID in real time. So what we are talking is a sample going to genome to be analyzed and public in around 3 days. So we always know what's circulating, and if needed, we do action direct with government in both countries, yeah. The development of methods will be used to train and capacity build of hundreds of African scientists. And we will also focus in this strategic partnership on writing the next grants we're going to be knocking our door, because you probably the best impact funding that you're going to have is in this program to really increase this partnership. So just to think, yeah, we have many funders to think for this program. Yeah, our program is quite a large one. But today, I'm happy to say that we just add a new one, the UK International Development Program, the FDCO, and we are really proud to have been part of this partnership funding, but also the relationship between our governments. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Tulio. To complement this discussion about the importance of collaboration and strategic partnerships for biomedical discovery, for training, for general public health improvement and benefit, it's my pleasure to call on Dr. Caroline Henwood from GSU. She's the Head of Products and Research at GSU at the Wellcome Sanger Institute. Welcome, Dr. Henwood.
Thank you, Lenine. Do I have the slides up or not? Anyway, there you go. Right, lovely. Firstly, I am absolutely delighted to be here representing the Genomic Surveillance Unit and our director, John Sillito, for this very exciting launch. We are thrilled to be part of this collaborative initiative, working with our partners at the Centre for Epidemic Response and Innovation, and made possible by the UK's FCDO team here in South Africa. Now, this partnership takes advantages of geographical differences to maximize insights from 2 winter seasons within a single calendar year, sharing findings and ultimately strengthening health systems across the UK and South Africa. Our recent experiences of the COVID pandemic and emerging infectious diseases have underscored one undeniable truth. No country is immune and no nation can act in isolation. Disease does not respect boundaries, and nor should our solutions. Effective surveillance and collaboration are our greatest tools in predicting, preventing, and mitigating health impacts. And that's why this collaboration, such as is so important, as it aims to share resources, coordinate strategies, and powerfully support our respective public health agencies in the global response. I thought it might be useful to start off by sharing a little bit about the mission of the GSU, some of our specific projects, and how this has neatly moved into this lovely collaboration. GSU is based at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, which, as highlighted, is based near Cambridgeshire on our lovely campus. The Wellcome Sanger Institute is a not-for-profit organisation which is dedicated through genomics to enhancing our advances in human health and our understanding of our life on Earth. At the GSU, our mission and focus is to invest in the power of genomics to improve public health globally. We aim to transform how infectious diseases are detected, tracked, and controlled by integrating genomic sequences with real-time data analysis. We provide critical insights that help to inform public health decisions, and our work spans from pathogen discovery and surveillance to predicting outbreaks and risks. And we also help a lot of countries to respond more effectively to emerging health threats. Now, during the COVID pandemic, the GSU were working with public health agencies in the UK to track the SARS-CoV-2 variants and to share these globally. We sequenced thousands of samples weekly, and we were able to identify new variants to assess the transmissibility and support public health responses and vaccine developments. So we have a lot of experience in this area, and beyond COVID, we've been working on the Respiratory Virus Initiative, which is about developing metagenomics methods, as Tulio highlighted, to be able to detect multiple pathogens within a single sample. So during COVID, it was very much about detecting COVID, but now we're transforming that to look at multi-pathogen technologies. Now, we've been also developing systems for rapid sequencing and data integration, which allows for real-time detection of outbreaks and transmission patterns. And more recently, we've been using genomics to combine with epidemiological and climate data to forecast outbreaks and guide proactive interventions. We're also working to strengthen our further collaborations with public health agencies and various academic institutes in the UK and also with other countries to build sustainable surveillance networks. So really with the RVR, we are moving from a very reactive responses to predictive, preemptive public health strategies, which really moves us nicely into this collaboration with CERI, where together we're looking to monitor respiratory infection threats across both the UK and South Africa, creating a cross-continental surveillance network, and then linking this to targeted vaccine developments across both hemispheres. We'll be able to review climate and seasonal drivers that might be influencing respiratory virus transmission, and we can then develop early warning systems for respiratory threats, especially ahead of seasonal winter burdens through evidence-driven genomic surveillance. So in essence, this collaboration represents a real and important shift from localized surveillance to more global surveillance and climate-informed approaches to epidemic preparedness. And it's with sincere thanks to the FCDO for their support and leadership in this area. I do think that we need more collaborations like this, which can then support and then start to transform the landscape of global health and ultimately create a safer and healthier future for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hinwood. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the signing of this groundbreaking collaboration. And I understand this will be taking place outside of the room. Is that so? Okay, so then I can close this online session right now. Thank you very much for joining us. We would now be moving over to witness the signing of this very important partnership and partake in a networking lunch. So please do stick around, and a tour of the CERI labs. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm going to be inviting His Excellency, Prof. Tulio and Dr. Hinwood to please move outside.